They played, I know you commentated, Stephen, that semi-final in Xi'an early season in China, which was a bit of a thriller.
Yeah, brilliant. I've been so impressed with Kyren Wilson this season. It was always not so much a question mark over him, but it was just interesting to see how he would do as the world champion, and he couldn't have done any better, in my opinion. Of course, went on to lift that trophy in Xi'an and then, of course, win in Northern Ireland as well. So it's been a solid season for the world champion. But of course, he doesn't want to just settle for 2 trophies. He wants more, and of course, chance to defend his title in Sheffield, which, as we all know, is impossible, Dave.
Well, the Crucible curse, has got everyone so far. All first-time winners have failed to defend it there. You'll hear a lot about that in the next few weeks as we sort of head, out of the Masters. The countdown begins, doesn't it? But he's determined to be the man who will lay that hoodoo to rest. A couple of players got to the final the year after. Joe Johnson, actually, 87, having been a surprise winner in 86, had a terrible season, but he got the closest. He lost 18-14 to Steve Davis. And Ken Doherty, 98, having beaten Hendry in 97, lost to John Higgins, 18-12 the following year.
Straight away here, Kyren popped in the initial long red and is nicely in amongst them, looking to keep Ronnie in his seat if he has just changed his tip.
16.
Kyren will be aware that table time will be important for Ronnie. They'll be looking to try and keep him in his seat for as long as possible.
Yeah, Wilson's been so impressive as world champion. He's been one of the best players of the season, won that Xi'an Grand Prix tournament where he beat Trump in the final, then of course beat Trump in the final of the Northern Ireland Open as well. So 2 ranking titles to his name. Got to the semis of the UK Championship. He's shown up on and off table as world champion. He's been impressive, I think, carrying that mantle.
$24.
And he's the only player on tour who knows when he'll be playing in the World Championship. He'll be playing on the opening day, that Saturday morning and evening. In terms of the Masters, Zhang Anda will be his opponent next
31.
week. Wilson was runner-up 6 years ago now. In fact, 7 years, isn't it? 2025 we are now. So 2018 lost to Mark Allen, 10-7.
Kyren Wilson, 31.
Well, it was a big stretch over that pack of reds, and I didn't expect him to miss that ball, but the fact that he left himself with a little bit to do just asked the question.
1.
Just didn't quite get into the meat of the reds there, Ronnie. I must say, over the years from watching him, he's certainly one of the best players at dealing with tip problems well. It's very difficult to just put a new tip on and go back out there in the arena and play as if you've been practicing with it for a while.
8.
Usually players take a good few days to get used to a new tip.
Well, there was 1 year before the Masters where Ronnie O'Sullivan smashed his cue up. Well, I don't like this cue anymore. Got another one. Went and won it again. So, most players, the idea of your cue being smashed up the week before a big tournament, you wouldn't sleep all week. But you just, I don't like this cue anymore. Let's get another one.
So all these years we've been blaming the equipment for poor performances, and it's not that. Now what have we got to blame?
I'm sure you'll find something. Anyway, Wilson's back in. Kyren Wilson, the only player to have won in the same season the ranking and invitation championship league. That's the double Ali Carter's trying to pull off this year. Kyren won the first ranking event version of this back in 2020, and then 2021 later that season, the invitation event, where of course he made the 23 centuries, which was a record until Matt Selt equalled it. He's second in terms of centuries this season on the list to Judd Trump. The one he made earlier, that was his 34th of the season. Trump's on 47.
17. $24. 25.
Well, it's been a nice enough start this from Kyren Wilson. Doesn't need to do all that much more to get this opening frame won. He'd like to get on the board as quickly
30.
as possible in terms of points in this group. Of course, lost his opener, as did Ronnie. Long way to go, though. A lot of
31.
snooker to be played between now and the playoffs tomorrow.
I think all the players, though, in this group are aware that making a good start is pretty imperative because it's just such a tough group. I mean, has there ever been three better players coming into a group than O'Sullivan, Wilson and Selby? So, this next red. Should secure the frame.
39.
Yeah, and of course, it doesn't always work out this way, but Kyren coming into today's play, playing
44.
the two higher ranked players as well. Mark in his first and now Ronnie.
45.
So if you can come out of them as one each, it wouldn't be a bad result. But they're all tough players and it's very difficult to predict. This format is so unpredictable.
50.
Well, the red stays out,
50
but
in the first frame.
a solid start for Kyren Wilson, who leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0. Kyren Wilson leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0. A reminder, Wilson was beaten 3-1 by Mark Selby. O'Sullivan was beaten 3-2
Second frame, Kyren
by
Wilson.
Chris Wakelin in the opening matches of the day. Yeah, you were saying the group's unpredictable. I think the game in itself is unpredictable at the moment, isn't it? We've seen a few people pop up out of nowhere and win tournaments. Players who've been around a while who sort of suddenly come good. Obviously, younger players, which is always good. And the established names as well have been reliable in winning trophies. So you're never quite sure what you're going to get, and it makes it very exciting, very competitive. I mean, just next week, you know, you can make a case basically for anyone in that Masters tournament, couldn't you? All 16 of them.
Yeah, I don't think the standard on the tour has ever been better in terms of, you know, right down the rankings, the players are very, very capable. It just begs the question, who is going to be the next first-time winner of an event? It gives inspiration for the whole tour. And players thinking it could possibly be them. But of course, inevitably, to win these tournaments, you've got to beat players like these two, which is not an easy task.
Yeah, I always remember Ricky Walden when he won his first ranking event out in Shanghai, the Shanghai Masters. And it was like he was sort of playing in the Hall of Fame. He beat Davis Hendry, Selby, Robertson, and Ronnie in the final. So the draw did not open up for him. If anything, it closed up for him. But he beat them all.
Just trying to swing the cue ball round the angles here, Kyren. No attempt at the pot, but didn't catch enough of the red. He's playing with a very narrow corridor to find that cue ball.
One.
That's another cracking opener from Kyren. Just starting to find his range over distance. Back in straight away after that miss from Ronnie, which came from nowhere.
Yeah, and that's why Wilson will be determined to score here. Sullivan played two good frames against Wakeling, particularly the fourth. And to be fair, he didn't do much wrong in the decider, but in this match, yet to really come to life. Wilson was also out in the Far East over the Christmas period, Macau, and obviously he's in demand as world champion, and there's a chance to earn extra money away from tournaments, but also to represent the game as world champion, which is what you want.
Well, just made a slight positional error there, Kyren Wilson. He was playing for the red just above the red next to the black into the left middle pocket. That offered a chance to get the black back into play. Didn't quite travel the cue ball far enough down the table, so let's take another red. Now just trying to make something happen here, and I don't think it's happened.
16.
Wasn't guaranteed, but took a gamble. Again, the intention was to get the black into play and be on a red. Well, he's looking at the chance of planting this red onto this next one. This is such a tough shot because the shot needs making. Oh, but he's played it well now. Is the black going to be
17.
potable? as the other red blocked it.
Doesn't look, well, I was going to say doesn't look convinced, but, well, he's having another look. It's clearly tight.
Yeah, it may be available just into the left part of the pocket. He's tried it into the left part and he's caught a little bit too little
17.
of the black. Just trying to over-pinch a bit of pocket there, and if he was right behind that black, I would have expected him to pot it, but the fact he was cutting it from an angle made it certainly missable.
Mark Selby's now 2-1 up on Robert Milkins. He lost the opener, but has won the next two. Selby, of course, beat Wilson in his first match. Mark Selby, the defending champion here at the Championship League, won it his home city of Leicester last season. It was actually his only success of the season, but of course already this campaign he's won the British Open in Cheltenham.
Well, that was quite a big shot to take on from Kyren, because he was always leaving this red to left corner as a tempter for Ronnie.
Kind of looked good on the way, didn't it? But not to be.
Now, can Kyren plant anything onto that red over the corner pocket? If he can't, well, it might be a bit of a stalemate.
Not allowed to jump over balls like in 9-ball pool. If this was 9-ball pool, it wouldn't be a problem, really.
Yeah, he's got to try and find a way to plant something onto that red, or at the very least, find an area of the table where he can cover access to it. He might be trying to... Well... Is he trying to come off this red on the top cushion and stun across the top cushion and pop the red with the cue ball? That's what he's tried. It's very close. Ah, that's a brilliant shot.
It feels like he should get more than one for that. Played it superbly. The black was always waiting, but he had to get the contact, obviously, to this red. What a shot.
Yeah, it's a brilliantly worked out shot, that, from Kyren. He was just playing to pot the cue ball, basically. Play to pot the cue ball off the red, stun across the cushion. He would have been very unlucky to have not potted the red. It took a double kiss in the end, but enough contact to sink it.
Nine. $11. $12.
So the red at the back of the pack will pass to left corner, which then may release another. If it doesn't, he's got a nice angle to play into them.
17.
He's looking to land low on this next black.
18.
There you see, that won't pass to left corner, but he can play a nice little controlled cannon into that one detached red. Just pushing that out of the way will release another one to left corner. Yeah, perfectly played. He's caught enough of the red to hold the cue ball in pretty much the same spot.
25.
Yeah, so serious chance to take a 2-0 lead now.
$26.
again, he's got options here. He's perfect on this black to go into the reds once again. Didn't need to go into them with too much pace, just a nice controlled pace. And again, the split has worked out to perfection.
Yeah, not much more to do now.
$34.
As I said earlier, Kyren doesn't need to concern himself with Ronnie's tip problems here. It's all about a workman performance. Try and keep Ronnie frozen out of this match for a period of time where he's unable to get used to a new tip. If he has had one put on, I'm not
37.
too sure if that has been the case.
Just left this a little awkward. It's a cutback. He's not over the line yet. Yeah, and he missed it. So, frame that he looks certain to win, he'll be concerned now. The lead really is irrelevant. It's where the balls are, and they're all there for Ronnie O'Sullivan. 54 behind. Help yourself time.
One.
It really is one of the hardest shots in the game, in my opinion, the one that Kyren just faced himself with. When you land on the cushion and you're cutting a ball back into a blind pocket, it's so tough. But it's one you have to go for in that situation. You've got to commit fully to it. He did, but he just got nowhere near it. So, as you say, chance for Ronnie, if anything, to get some valuable table time.
$16.
Straight away taking the chance to take the only difficult red on the table. It wasn't a difficult pot,
17.
but it was difficult in terms of getting access to it. Had to land low.
I mean, O'Sullivan in his seat, he thought the frame had gone, I think, but
19.
the chance came. I always think in an event like this, he sort of can't win and can't lose in a way. If he beats everybody today, he's a genius and he's the best player ever. If he loses to everyone, people say, oh, he's not bothered about this tournament. You know, he's bothered. That's why he's here. He's looking to build up a bit of form.
20.
Second half of the season. He's much more competitive, I think, than people give him credit for. There's aspects of the tour he doesn't like, and I think they've been well documented, but at the snooker table, he wants to win as much, if not more than anybody.
24.
You might play it down in comments, but just see the evidence of your own eyes when you watch him.
$25.
The green being slightly off its spot just means that Ronnie has less of a big area to play into. He wants that cue ball to pull up.
32.
Well, it's landed fine because it's just ran far enough that he can hit the middle of the cue ball here.
Meanwhile, Mark Selby very close to victory over Robert Milkins.
34.
O'Sullivan and Selby will play at 4:30, by the way. That's always a fascinating matchup.
37.
No, he didn't like that shot from the green. He's not left himself ideal on this blue. On the brown, sorry, to get nicely on the blue. So
41.
having to try and screw back, take the blue into the corner. And he's underhit it by some way. So much so,
41.
he's had to play the snooker. He didn't like that one bit, Ronnie.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You know, when he's out there, the competitive juices flow, and that's a missed opportunity. He's laid the snooker. That's the respect he's got for Wilson. He didn't try any sort of difficult pots to corner.
And that, to me, is a classic case of somebody not quite being used to a new tip. Just the feel from the tip, not quite there yet. because there's no way that Ronnie can underscrew that brown by that distance.
Well, you saw what you thought of that one. So, a dramatic frame. Can Wilson knock this blue in? Yes, he can.
5.
And that puts him 18 in front with 13 on. So it looked like he'd thrown the frame away, missed that tricky cut back red to the green pocket, but O'Sullivan went wrong, brown to blue, missed the blue, and has missed the boat really in this frame.
Kyren Wilson, 5. And
He stays in his seat, and so Kyren Wilson presses on to a 2-0 lead.
And immediately a poor break-off from Ronnie. So alarm bells will certainly be ringing. Lost his opener, 2-0 down in this. Kyren Wilson looking to press home. And responds by knocking in the opener. So he's one good positional shot away here, Kyren Wilson, from making this a match-winning chance. Just coming round to study the business end of this table, which balls will pot into which pockets, and how may go about getting that black into open play as quickly as possible. The red left of it is the problem ball at the minute. Pink not available, and the blue off its spot means that getting in amongst the black spot is quite important. This looks good to me. Straight away taking the chance to get on that red just left of the black. If he's straight enough on it, that was a brilliantly played shot from Kyren. Because he can pot the red and hold for the black as well. Yeah, he just couldn't have played the green any better. If he'd have picked the cue ball up with his hand, he'd have placed it exactly where it finished up. So this now a glorious chance for Kyren.
I mean, we've seen this season how he's pressed on from becoming world champion. He wants to start ticking off the other major titles, the Masters. He's such a big event now. Such a big show. Next week in London, he would love to be last man standing.
13.
Yeah, I mean, he played a cannon to a different red, actually, but he's okay. The break continues.
20.
Seems to have invented his own dress code as well for this event. I'm not sure it's actually in the books, but anyway, I suppose
21.
when you're world champion, you do what you like.
Yeah, just spicing things up today with a little drop of colour there, Kyren Wilson. And there's talk about the waistcoat that he may be wearing next week in the Masters, so if he wasn't already going to tune in, which I'm sure you all were, make sure to tune in, if anything, to see what sort of attire Kyren will turn up in.
Yes, there was a competition, wasn't there, with the school children to design a waistcoat that he's going to be wearing next week, the winning design.
29.
Again, another very clean strike of the ball there from Kyren Wilson.
32.
Real good cue speed, good cue acceleration through the ball. Instantly reacting off the green.
33.
The red beneath the pink may be pottable into a corner or middle pocket. Well, they see it isn't, so that may have provided a chance to bring the reds into play as a free shot almost. He doesn't have that option.
40.
So he'll be looking for an angle off a colour within the next few shots. Just had a little glance at that. One red at the back of the pack of 6. Will it pass to the middle pocket when this red disappears?
41.
I think it will.
$48. $49.
Yeah, another good pot from Kyren. So unless that red passes to the middle pocket, he's got the perfect angle to top off the top cushion into the reds. That's what he's played. Needs a little bit of luck. Now, is there a red 2 down from the pink that will pot to left corner?
56.
Well, it's very tight.
Well, it's huge, isn't it? Be a match winner if he's on it. So that's the difference. Just fractions there. Probably end a match had he got on the red.
Kyren Wilson, 56.
Good lead though, 56, the break and the lead in this frame. Well, out of nowhere, Ronnie O'Sullivan finds a long one. Couple of reds towards cushions, otherwise it's a pretty good chance this. Get the blue back on its spot.
$6. 7. $14. 15. $22.
You'd probably like to try and promote one of those reds off the cushion, off this next black.
So he made that century in frame 4, the 1-8 against Wakelin. Otherwise, it's been disappointing from O'Sullivan in this session. Not at anywhere close to his flowing best, and you can see the frustration in him. Wow, what a great pot, meanwhile, from Wilson. So 35 in front. If he pots the blue 42, you would still need red and colour. But he's got 2 safe reds there. And the pink's tied up as well, so it's not a good table for O'Sullivan.
Yeah, and he didn't have the greatest angle on that black, so he's got options here, Kyren. He could play a double, knowing that the other 2 reds are safe. Be guaranteed to be on the black. It's a chance to win the match. He's gone for it, and he's not got it.
Kyren Wilson, 8.
Well, dear me, what has just happened there? People will say that is pure genius, but it isn't. That is an outrageous fluke.
Also, just to land plumb on the black. So it's about the red on the cushion. I mean, the match was kind of not in his favour. Let's look at this again.
8.
Brings the pink out. Obviously, that was intended, but red going in nicely on the black.
9.
Yeah, I think he just couldn't be bothered to play safe for a number of shots there with those two reds on the cushion, just trying to get them back into the open, into play. What a pot it turned out to be, and all of a sudden, he's a back double away from making this a good frame-winning chance.
15.
Oh dear, and in it goes. Well, this is outrageous. Kyren Wilson is sat in his seat. When he went back to the seat, everything was tied up. He basically couldn't lose this frame, Kyren Wilson. And now Ronnie's got the colours at his mercy.
22.
Did go wrong in the last frame, didn't it? It was slightly different there because the pink was
24.
tying up the blue slightly, but he's going to have to go seriously wrong to stop him here. And then after that, who knows in the rest of the match? He was sort of starting to look a bit fed up, wasn't he? But maybe this could be the start of something now.
31.
What a nice game this is, really. Crazy.
$36.
I mean, how well has he taken them, though?
It was a good double. He missed one earlier, but, well, he still needs this black. It's a little cutback. Could have been nicer on it. This is to extend the match to a fourth frame. In it goes. So Ronnie O'Sullivan then has found inspiration from somewhere there, and he reduces Kyren Wilson's lead to 2-1. He could have a great day. He could carry all that confidence into Ali Pali. You just don't know. But anyway, he won the frame. I don't think you could really say Kyren Wilson did anything wrong there. It's all part of the intrigue, isn't it? The thing with O'Sullivan, he's just so watchable, really. Even if he's not playing at his best, you get the feeling something will happen. But let's be clear, he hasn't been at his best today. It's just a question of whether he can get something out of this match now. He lost his first one to Chris Wakelin, 3-2. Got two more to come later against Mark Selby and Jack Jones. Selby's won his first two. Jack, of course, playing great stuff maximum yesterday. He's playing in his third group here.
Yeah, that's another good long red from Kyren, considering what he just witnessed in that previous frame.
1.
Absolute madness. But these best of fives, they can turn very quickly, so he'll be looking to try and just re-stamp his authority here. You're often looking for a moment of inspiration when you're down in a match, and, well, that clearance that Ronnie just made could well be it, but it's up to Kyren Wilson to try and keep him there, planted to his seat. Yeah, now he's negotiated that very missable red. He's got the perfect angle on the black. Get into the pack, get them spread, try and control the cue ball. Well, he's going the pink route, I'm surprised.
$11. $12.
Well, in potting the pink, it just ensured that it went to the back of the pack, which basically provides good access to the pack of reds now. Kyren going two cushions into them, and that's worked out a dream. He's got multiple reds available to the middle pocket.
17. $18. 25.
3 or 4 reds in open play here, Kyren, that he can chip away at. But the pack is quite
26.
inviting. If at some point he feels he wants to try and just promote all the reds, going into them from the blue is... Well, it looks as if it can't go wrong. Not from this blue, of course. He's 2 straight here. But he's got reds either side of the pack to play on.
$31. Top. 32. $37.
This is another skill in snooker, just shrugging off things that have happened. I mean, there may have been a sense of injustice about how he lost the last frame, but you just have to focus on the next frame. Not everyone has that ability.
38.
What I like about Kyren, he's got this sort of bloody-minded attitude, which, you know, it's resilience, really. Okay, you were a bit lucky in that last frame. Well, let's see what happens in the next one then.
45. $46.
Well, didn't quite get into that red as well as he would have liked. So had to come across the face of the pack. He's just lost the cue ball a touch here, Kyren Wilson.
53.
There is one red at the back of the pack that will pot, and if he's straight enough on it, it's just a test of cueing. Well, I don't think
54.
he should really apologise too much after that, considering the fluke Ronnie had, but he does offer his hand. He struck that one all wrong, Kyren, caught the red, potted it off the pack, had a flip to the black as well. That's one each.
$61.
So it's really a couple more reds needed here, and it'll be an impressive way to win it. Just one visit needed. As I say, shrugging off what happened in the last frame. 67 the lead with the blue 67 on, so as I say, one more red, the loose one, and that should be that. Sullivan has struggled a little to find his normal rhythm. He made the century against Wakelin, the 1-2-8 to level at 2-2. But Chris Wakelin played an excellent decider, and Kyren Wilson has played an excellent break here.
68.
So 2 matches played for O'Sullivan, 2 defeats. He'll be back with 2 more matches later against Mark Selby and Jack Jones. Kyren Wilson has his first point on the board. He has 1 more match to come today against
75.
Robert Milkins, and then 3 tomorrow.
$76.
Nice plant to stay on track for what would be his second century of the day. Made one against Mark Selby earlier.
$83. $84. $91.
Well, not to be, but it's a fine finish from Kyren Wilson, a 91 break to complete a 3-1 victory, I should say, over Ronnie O'Sullivan.